Hello and welcome to Women's Biz Podcast. I'm Annie Gibbins, founder and CEO of Women's Biz Global, and I invite you to get comfortable and listen in on candid conversations I have with fascinating women from around the globe. Business leaders, entrepreneurs, humanitarians, athletes, and a whole lot of regular people. Tune in as they let their guard down and open up on aspects of their business and life journey, how they measure success, and what they have learned along the way. These conversations aim to inspire you to embrace opportunities and possibilities beyond the limits of your imagination. Reclaim your power, strength, and vulnerability. Stand in your truth and propel yourself towards the life you dream to live. Hello, everyone, our wonderful listeners. Annie Gibbins here, host of Women's Biz Podcast, and I am delighted to have you join us today. I'm excited to introduce Liling Ong. She's a dynamic leader at the forefront of transforming education at PIEX Education. She's got a passion for innovation, technology, enhanced learning. She is all things change making, creative thinking, and I absolutely am so excited about you talking about education because I don't know if many of you know, but I do have a Master's of Education, and in a previous life I was even a head teacher of nursing for a good 8 years back in the day. So I get excited to talk about education with a current educationist. So welcome to the program, Liling.
Thank you, Annie. Thanks for having me here.
It's wonderful to have you join me today. And I would love you to just introduce yourself to our listeners. What actually, when you reflect back on your career journey in education, what was the initial spark? What excited you about education? And why did you think, you know what, I could actually have a vision for making a global impact through the education learning opportunities that I can create for others?
Yeah. So my passion for education started during my early years in Switzerland, where I saw one of my teachers. His name is Herr Gerber, Mr. Gerber. He went to he went to Africa to build a school in a small community in Africa, and he came back with some photos to show, and I was really inspired by him. I thought to myself, oh, maybe when I'm 60, 70, 80 years old and have the money, I can go out there and build schools for communities in Asia, Africa, to really transform lives, because I've witnessed how education can break down barriers and empower individuals in many sense. And that is what got me started in education.
Wow, I'm so glad you didn't need to wait till you were 60, 70 or 80. Because absolutely, education is just the source of future change, right? It's a source of empowerment. It's a source of choices that people then have by having an education. So I think it's just so critical. Now, you have focused then on 21st century skills. Share a little bit about that. What are these skills and how do they then help prepare students for the challenges and the opportunities of the future?
So in the rapidly changing world like today, AI, robotics, everything is so advanced right now. And when it comes to education, it's still the same. There are people that told me, oh, when I have a son now, and when I walk into the classroom to do the parent-teachers meeting, and everything they do is still the same. Like haven't changed since I was in school. There are people who tell me the same thing, and I have witnessed it myself as well, because I have been teaching in schools and doing in-school program, and a lot of things they do is very similar to when I was in school as well. So what I wanted to do is transform education to develop children social emotional skills like critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, communication skills, using technologies like coding, robotics, animation, 2D game design, to make it fun, exciting, engaging, and most importantly, relevant to the real world experience. Yeah. So that is what we are trying to do right now. And in the current situation where the world has changed so much, as I mentioned previously, the skills that required in the workforce in the future is very different, and we
Mm.
have to prepare children for the future by fostering them to be resilient, and beyond the classroom environment. That's
Mm.
important.
Absolutely. You're giving them life skills into a future that we can't even imagine. There's statistics on these jobs that I know my granddaughters, who are now 2 and 6, there's jobs
Yeah.
that haven't even been created yet that they will then be part of. Like, it's amazing the rapid rate of change. And so, as an educator, it's such a fascinating space to be in, because you're then leading it as a director of education in your business. You're actually then empowering your educators with the tools and the resources and the professional development to stay at that current level. It's kind of like you're trying just to stay ahead of the change that is happening. It's absolutely huge. So how do you then help them adapt to the evolving educational landscape? Right, you've mentioned already that there's that's right, you try and it's almost like there's gamification involved. There's a lot of active learning. They've got to imagine it being real life in its scenario. Gone are the days of just being theoretical and sort of filling that person up with knowledge. It's got to make sense to them, right? How do
Yes.
you how do you help your educators then really stay ahead of the curve?
Well, we recognize that educators play a pivotal role in shaping the learning experience for every single child. And we provide professional learning program, professional development, where we equip students with sorry, I'll start again, where we provide professional development courses where we equip teachers with the tools and resources to adapt to changing educational landscape. And we also empower teachers to serve as a catalyst for student success, where they involve in children's learning, hands-on experience, and also most importantly, finding out what the children's interest and passion is, and we cultivate that. Because the last thing you want to do is providing projects that the students are not interested at all and forcing them to do it, and then it will lead to disaster. So by incorporating technology into their learning and also adapting to the children's interests, and as well as making sure that they meet the assessment criteria or the curriculum designed by the school, is really important. Everything comes into play to ensure that we have a great experience for the students.
Mm.
And yeah, preparing them for the challenges and opportunity for the future is also important for the teachers to grasp in
Yeah.
order to help them, the students, for their future.
So important, so incredibly important. So do you have any scenarios, stories, case studies of student that you could see was learning in a certain way, and then you then introduce more dynamic learning opportunities like project learning you mentioned already? Have you got an example of when they started to learn in a different way, they suddenly their capacity to learn really sort of ignited?
Yes, that's right. All our program is personalized. We personalize to the students' interest and passion, and they work at their own pace, focusing on their strengths and interest. And our project-based learning approach helps students to apply the theoretical knowledge in the real-world scenarios, solving real-life problems, and so that it helps foster them. It helps foster deeper understanding of the concept. And one of the examples I can give you is we asked the students to solve a real life problem of plastic in the ocean, and they came up with ideas of games, creating games and animation to educate their peers and parents about the how microplastic have a bad effect on the people's life, where children as young as 1 year old found microplastic in their body, and a dead whale, for example, was found on shore, and when they opened it up, they found 1 ton of rubbish in the whale's stomach. So through what they have learned, they create games like a diver diving in the ocean and picking up the rubbish and put it into the bin, and at the same time they have an octopus popping up trying to catch the diver, and we gamify it to make it more fun and exciting. And these are the ideas that the children actually came up with, and we are there to assist them to create the game ideas. And we have another example of a child came up with the idea of picking up the rubbish in a canal. So we create like a maze game where you have to go through the maze without touching the side, and then picking up rubbish along the way. So that is examples of what we have been doing with children in the theme of environmental sustainability and plastic in the ocean.
Fantastic example, and so much more fun than just information, theoretical information. It's kind of like it doesn't necessarily apply to me. Whereas when you're in that game, imagining, and then you've got a role to remove, for example, to remove plastics and to clean up the environment and to improve your health, suddenly it all becomes real. With that, though, there's also challenges. It's a lot of people have a false view that online education is cheap compared to face-to-face. But I tell you what, it's not, because when you, just investing in the technology and the different programs and different opportunities, there's real challenges for you to be able to educate in that way, but also for you as a business owner to have those costs. How have you navigated different challenges?
So what we have been doing is sorry, I need to correct you. We are not an online business. We do face-to-face as well.
Yeah. You do face-to-face. That's okay. All right. That's right. I'll cut that bit out then. I'll ask you the question again. So that's okay. It was going to be more online. Okay.
Yeah, no, our business is not online, not pure online. It's face-to-face. We do in-school program, after-school program, holiday programs, and we align to the school curriculum. So it's not face-to-face, and not just the only very small part is online, where kids from other parts of New South Wales, they can't attend our classes. They do it online, but it's a very small part of the business only. Yeah.
That's all right. I will correct that, and I can chop that little bit out. I'll just rephrase it then. Okay, so don't worry about that. So Liling, you've got challenges though with being an educator and also owning a business. So you've got these students coming in from, all over the place. You're in a face-to-face environment, and then you're also using technology, different active learning opportunities, if you like, which will come with challenges. There'll be times that your staff will need upskilling. There's times that it's an expensive choice to invest in certain technologies to assist the learning. That's a cost on yourself as a business owner as well. What have been the biggest challenges for you? Am I on the pulse of those sorts of challenges? Are they correct? Are there more? What have been your biggest challenges?
Yeah, being a business owner is not easy at all. I would say it's really, really tough. There are all sorts of challenges, especially during the pandemic, where first of all, it's really tough to get coaches. And in the beginning, when we look back, I was grateful that we have the job saver and job seeker allowance in the beginning, and when it ended in 2021, the business wasn't in a good place at all, I would say. And I only have a few $100 left in the business bank account, and I even told my husband that if things doesn't come back in the beginning by beginning of 2022, I might have to shut the business. And luckily things came back, and school started to open up again, and where we can go back to schools, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. And since then, in the beginning was still really tough, where I couldn't find coaches, and I have to go in and teach most of the lessons myself along with other coaches that we still have. And then slowly when it comes to this year, which is quite good in when we are able to hire more coaches. Things are back to almost normal now, and we are there. We can move forward and do more for the children, run more in-school program. So I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is setting your mind in the longer term goal and ensure that you focus on the long-term goal and understanding that profit and loss is part of life. Having more coaches, that you appreciate it, and if you have not enough coaches, we just have to go in there and do the work, and it's part of life. There's ups and downs in life. So persistence, I would say, is key. Adaptability, to overcome obstacles on the path to transforming education is also the key. Just focus on the long-term goal.
Well, first of all, congratulations of getting through that very, very tight moment, because for those listening in, our listeners will totally resonate with this. You have those moments in a business going, oh my goodness, like I'm on the end of the chain here, one more week and I could be gone. And then suddenly things can change. You can be very strategic. It can sometimes just be luck and timing. Also the elements that you've shared, that you actually get in there and teach the kids yourself. You don't always have that opportunity to go, well, I want to be here in my business. Sometimes you've got to go back to basics and cover that time. And I know in a lot of industries, actually, it has been very, very challenging trying to find staff post COVID. So was there something really strategic that you did when you're in that moment, you're teaching those classes and you're actually competing for staff against all those other, training opportunities, teaching opportunities that those candidates could be going for? How did you approach that key issue?
Yeah, so what I did was I realized that our marketing isn't strong at all for many years, because I'm not from marketing background at all. All the students that we got is through word of mouth and through introduction, and it grows by us focusing on the students and to make sure that they progress over time and they stay in our program for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. We even have kids that have been with us from day one, and he's in high school right now. So that was what I focused on, because I know that we don't have the money to throw in terms of marketing. We have our competitors that spend $8,000 on one platform, and we only have $800 to spend. And when I look at our advertisement on the website itself, it's one of the online magazine company, and our competitors' advertisement was on the banner, on the side, at the bottom. I was like, what is this? And then I called out the company and said, this is not right. We having competitors advertising on our page, the whole page itself. And then I was like, oh well, they spend $8,000 and we only spend $800. I was like, okay, I understand that this is not the way we can compete, because we simply do not have the money. So what we have been focusing on is getting the program right, really focusing on the children and making sure that they grow and develop over time. And
I was just going to say that is actually a very, very common problem, that when you're a smaller business, you look at your competitors and go, oh, wow, I just can't even compete with that, right? It can be really soul destroying. It can just be so hard, because you're just as good. It's not about that. It just means that their business is at a different level, that they've now got a disposable spend that they can then use that for advertising, marketing, to then obviously acquire more clients. So you've actually approached that challenge, by the sound of it, by just actually focusing on the quality for those long-term clients. Do you incentivize them as well, that if you find a friend, or obviously it's great when you've got a child that's only going to be there for a few years, and they obviously might have siblings as well. But you can't just have a model of, we'll just keep having babies. And so how do you actually approach that as well?
Yeah, so we provide vouchers, $20 vouchers for each child that they introduce. So that is our marketing strategy. I'm sure we can think about more stuff to do. So we have been working with a marketing company to work on our branding as well. So PIEX Education logo has changed, and then we are more, we know our tagline better, our branding, style and so on better in some ways to make it consistent. That is something that we are working on right now, and we are almost there. I think we are getting there almost to 100%. We are still working on that. Yeah.
Oh, that's super exciting. That's such a moment when you go, oh my goodness, I think we're actually done, now, because then you want to then just rinse and repeat it, right? When you spend all that time kind of trying to fine tune it, and then you want to just keep doing it consistently. So that your market make you, that brand awareness actually kicks in. So now you're at a different stage then. You've actually kicked into the stage where I can now look ahead for our business to be what's going to happen in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, if you're bold enough. Are you at that stage, and what do you see for your business and the opportunities that it can then bring to all of those young minds that you serve?
Yeah. So when I started PIEX Education, I have the goal of building a school in mind, and I work backwards to building this company. So now we started as a after school and holiday program provider, where we develop and test our program, and then we move on to the next stage right now, where we align it to the curriculum and run it as in-school program. And we still working towards the longer term goal of building a school in Australia and eventually all over the world. And what we are doing right now is, besides growing our in-school program, we also create a platform to help solve administrative issues for the teachers in terms of assessment, reporting. Because when I run in-school program in school, I witness myself that, when it comes to reporting assessment time, they are so stressed. And
Yes.
I really want to help them to solve the issues. And I talk to them and I write down all the issues they're facing, and I came, and one night I woke up at about 2 o'clock. I was like, okay, since I can't sleep, I'll just think of ways to help these teachers, because what they should be doing is focusing on building relationship with the children, focusing on what they do best, which is teaching, instead of doing administrative work, which take their time away from the students. So I came up with an idea of creating a platform where they can assess the children along the way throughout the term, and when it comes to reporting time, because all the data are collected, and we can generate an automated reports using AI technology. And I'm seeking for more teachers and schools to be involved. Hopefully we can help them to solve more issues that they have. And and in the longer term, I'm seeking partners and investors who really want to make an impact, a positive impact, and establish an innovative school in Australia and all over the world. And that is what I'm working towards in the next 5 to 10 years.
Oh, that is so exciting. I love that. And I tell you what, that is such an important aspect of the, education system, if you like, to be removing as the administrative burden. I actually personally know teachers who've left their profession because of the amount of admin, particularly around report writing, defensive-based practice, when they just want to be with the kids. They just want to be teaching. Yes. So I really honor you for making that a focus area, because it allows you to get that top quality teacher who just wants to be, spending as much time in the classroom as possible. So I'd love to finish our conversation by asking you then, well, what have been your greatest learnings over this time? It's been hugely rewarding, but also challenging. And so what would you love to share that you have learned the most about yourself?
I think the first thing is resilience, because I'm committed myself to this course, and there is no turning back in some sense, because I feel like, that during the pandemic time, I was like, this is really, really tough. And the whole problem, all the problems in terms of education is huge. I don't know how to solve it from, from the school level, university level, and even the government level. And what I realized is that, I just need to do my part and to influence and people around me and help the children that I can, as many as I can. And hopefully I have a bigger impact in the future through the people that I have impact. And yeah, so that is what fueled me to create this innovative education in the education industry. And another thing that I realized is that I'm practicing gratitude. I'm always grateful for everything that is happening to me and people that I'm surrounded with in terms of advisors, my coaches, the teachers, and even the students. They are the different kind of students that we have, different kind of teachers and coaches. And we have a different mindset, and that is why we came together, because I have come across a lot of coaches, for example, or teachers. Sometimes you can see that we are at different wavelength, different frequency, and things that you say they wouldn't understand at all. And students the same. We have students that do not understand, do not get what we are trying to do, and they just fall off eventually. And we will just attract the right people that understand what we are trying to do, what we are trying to achieve, and how we can move forward together.
Oh, well, we never stop learning. That's it. And it's not just for ourselves in our own journey of, falling down, learning, rediscovering, trying new things, getting really strong and brave when things are stressful. We also learn from each other. So I love that recognition of your team. And that's right, you learn from the children, because when you're reflective in your practice and you actually see what works, what doesn't work, how those children respond, what they respond quicker to, with more joy in their heart, it's actually a wonderful opportunity that you get that holistic perspective. So how have all of those moments of overcoming, learning, how have they shaped your leadership style today?
That is a hard one for me. I wouldn't say I have a certain style, like leadership style. So for me, I just be myself, and I just I just show through actions and examples. And for me, I'm a person who learn continuously. I have 3 masters of education. I have 3 masters, one in education, in international business, and another one in financial planning when I was a financial advisor. So for me, it's just doing through, being a role model through actions and doing. So it's hard for me to answer this question, to
That's
be honest.
okay. It sounds like you have I'll call it for you. You have an authentic leadership style. And it
Yeah,
sounds like you're leading within the team. Some people are out the front, some people are sort of hanging back. You sound like you're right in there. You're being a role model. You're saying, you know what, I'm doing this with you. We're learning together from each other. And you're very honest and sincere, very grateful, and also very transparent, which I think is a really wonderful style. So
yeah.
I will help affirm that in you today. So what advice do you have for those listening in today thinking, you know what, I've been at that moment and I think, is my business going to make it? Should I stay with the dream, or should I give it away? What advice do you have for people aspiring to be leaders, aspiring to have a business that's successful, who might be listening in today going, you know what, I'm actually feeling really encouraged, Liling's push through. What advice do you have for them today?
I would say never give up on your dream and your goal. And for me, I take it as my calling, my role in this life to transform education, to improve life for the current generation and all future generations to come. So I believe that everyone in this world has a role to play. in this life, in this world. So play it right, do your part, and make sure that you have a positive impact to the world, to the people around you, and that's it.
Fantastic. Just do it. Just do it. I believe that too. Everyone is born on this planet for a reason. And many of us have had different paths. And congratulations on all of your qualifications. You're an extremely credentialed woman. And then sometimes we have these paths that we sort of do one thing. And it could have been for a variety of reasons why you went into finance and had qualifications. But we end up having a path that then steers us in a certain direction. And you can hear in the conversation that we've had today, suddenly it excites you. It interests you. There's value there. You're going to be leaving a legacy, that you're changing lives. And whatever that area is for those of you who are listening in or watching on our variety of platforms, have a little think about that and think, that's right. What does excite me? And when those times are tough, I want you to, reach out and ask for assistance, get some mentoring, coaching, to be able to push through, because when you do, it's seriously all worth it. And it can be a fine line. It can be a very fine line between giving up and pushing through. And I can feel that you had that very, very defined moment, and it's scary, but it's definitely worth just keep backing yourself. I love that advice today. Thank you so much for being on the program today, Liling. It's been really, really great.
Thank you so much, Annie. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Women's Biz Podcast. I'm Annie Gibbins, founder and CEO of Women's Biz Global. And if you would like to fast track your future success, pop on over to womensbizglobal.com, where you can find out how our coaching, media and publishing opportunities are helping women just like you to become and be seen as the trusted authorities in their niche. Inquire today and start reining in the abundance you desire.